Hi, I'm Sampy Sicada. I make artwork. You may know me for my surreal portraits and some photorealism as well. I was raised in Hong Kong and England, two cultures, so I never felt like I belonged anywhere truly. That media theory concept known as the global village is one I feel like I've lived out personally, and my art aesthetics probably reflects that in its focus on good rendering to appeal to a bardic desire, in the hopes that it's something that everyone can pick up and enjoy, regardless of background and culture. And I think archetypical beauty and realism accomplish this best. My following probably also reflects this, in that it's less so flaneurs and derivers with pompous art statements that enjoy my work. I like to think so anyways. Hong Kong was particularly intolerant to how Western I was, how I spoke English as a first language and dressed in more expressive ways. It's a more homogenized society, so there's a cap on how much you can stick out. I got called Phasian a lot. The police would often target me for strip searches, ID checks, at worst beatings, and when those incidents of police brutality, which the area is now sadly known for, when they did occur, nobody really took my side, not even my own parents. It was all seen as my fault for sticking out too much. England, on the other hand, was a lot more tolerant to me, being that it's a more individualistic culture and weirdos like I, with bleached hair, do in fact just grow on trees here, so I'm nothing special. These days, Hong Kongers would regularly come up to congratulate me on my success in the art industry. They've also asked me to participate in these protest videos with them. It's only when I have some utility to them that they would accept me as one of their own. So I've never quite forgiven them for how they treated me there, and I've never said yes to collaborations like that. The only person I felt like I had in Hong Kong was my granddad, who raised me, and when he died of cancer, I fell into a bout of depression, which culminated in homelessness for a year, and that's when I started hanging out with shadier sorts like people in triads and drug users. That whole year left a mark on me, and that's probably where some of the darker images of mine come from. I felt I hit a rock bottom moment one night when 3 police officers ganged up on me and beat me up, and made sure to verbally abuse me as well as they were beating me up, and the words that came out of their mouths were deeply etched into my brain. So on the aftermath of that, I decided I'd do everything I could to turn my life around, but what was I going to do? Wasn't good at anything then, but I saw the sketchbook laying around, so I thought, alright, give it over, let's see what we can do now. I put everything into getting better at art in like a really himbo-esque and unpretentious manner. Realism was my focus. Started posting individual pages from my sketchbook online, gaining a slight following, and the feedback I got seemed to suggest that I was decent at it. So I thought the natural next step was to apply to a university in the bid to make it my career eventually. I applied somewhere up north in England and got in, and I thought maybe I turned a corner. I was already decent at drawing, and if I only got better at it, I will come out and find a place in the world at last. I was wrong. There were people in the art industry determined to ensure that skill was never the foreground issue in the arts anymore. This post-structural culture and arts movement has a pretense of democratizing the arts. If Duchamp's fountain is an art piece, then everyone who owns a toilet is an artist. It seeked to open up an elitist field to the masses, but we now know it's had the opposite effect. And that's not just based on the eye test, it's statistically so as well. Art has never not been an elitist field, but in, say, the Renaissance period, you at least had to go through these cycles of apprenticeship to develop the skills that somewhat justified your comparative privilege in life. Whereas nowadays, you only need the privilege and a bullshitter's ability to intellectualize what you're doing. You can just pay your way in now, which then allows these wealthy pseudo-artist types to rely on commissioning craftspeople to make their pieces for them, oftentimes quickly, oftentimes for money laundering and tax evading purposes. And academia has certainly allowed these trends to worsen with its intellectualizing of these aesthetics, at worst considering notions of archetypal beauty, skill, realism, effort, competence, everything learnt in the Enlightenment period basically. They're all merely constructs created by the hegemony. And my university happened to be one of those places that were really strict of these beliefs. All of my more realistic pieces were graded lower than my more abstract, wishy-washy, contemporary, pretentious pieces. It was like they wanted me to be a worse artist, whether out of the lecturer's laziness or insecurity. I had a blind critique session once where a lecturer, who didn't see me yet, wrote down that my realistic painting was white-centric for showcasing skill at all. And then he saw me, realized I wasn't white, and was gobsmacked. That goes to show how backwards the ideology had become, I guess. I lasted just a year there before dropping out, vowing to make something of myself to be part of the movement to stop this kind of thing from happening. Our job is already underappreciated and undervalued enough as is to see the average fellow budding artist grow increasingly lazy, hide further behind style, not care for making pieces that sent people home from galleries happy, but instead sneered at them for not getting things like the banana taped to the wall. Since they don't have the expensive liberal arts degree to help them get it, the side of me that lived homeless just couldn't digest it. The man on the street that the movement seek to empower in the first place just simply doesn't get it anymore. They still want beautiful art. I didn't think they were Philistines for that, and I was inclined to give him that. So I moved to London, took on 4 jobs as a graphic designer for these 4 startup companies, working the hardest I've ever worked in my life, saving up whenever I could, drawing whenever I could to maintain the skill level, posting whenever I could to keep my following up. It was tough, but eventually I was noticed by people in galleries, and these filmmakers got in touch to make a documentary on me, documenting my journey from homelessness to getting into the galleries, and it all kind of snowballed from there. I've been a working artist ever since, exhibiting in numerous shows internationally, showing up in a few interviews here and there. Every chance I got to speak my mind on what I went through, I did. I never forgot about my experiences leading up to this. I knew I had to speak out against the slow death of art and advocate for things like beauty, realism, competence, effort, skill, etc. My hope is that people look at the arts like it's a craft again, to not make it the excuses that play directly into the hands of the elites. Skill becoming a real construct again is the only way we can push back against what's happened. It's the only way we can fight back against the rot. So every piece I make, I do my absolute best on in the hopes that people feel things looking at it. I've been calling out for beauty all my career, not just in my art, but in my voice as well, and I'll continue to do that.